Good morning. Trying to show you how to browse through data genome. This is a tab that we have built for data quality, data generation, schema analyzer, and PII and PHI masking as well. So you log into the application using a regular login. The first screen that you come in would be your connection screen. You'll end up in the connection screen, and here is where you create your connections. Everything starts with the connection, a source. Ideally, a source or a destination would have to be created as a connection. This is where you try to sync up and populate your data and schema and your also masking of your PHI and PII information. How do you create a connection? All you have to do is you have two ways of doing it. One is the regular new connection. Click on a new connection, give it a name over here. You have different data types that you can connect with. We already have drivers with which we can connect to these data types. Or you can do a jar file uploading over here. So you select the give the name, what kind of a class this is, and upload the jar file. It automatically connects. Like you have seen, I have two Snowflake connections to two different accounts and one SQLite connection over here. After you're done with the connection, you go into the schema analyzer. This is the place where you create a pipeline. Rather than entering the source and destination every time, you create a pipeline over here. Sorry, you go to pipeline, you create a pipeline over here and keep the pipeline active. So as and when you create a pipeline, you can, as I'll just show it to you very quickly, once you click on the pipeline, you can give a name, give a source and a destination, can give the schema that it is talking to from the source side. You can give comma separated values. This is not mandatory in terms of table names. This is what decides how do you execute, whether it is hard execution or soft execution. Hard execution is as long as it matches the table name on both the sides, it goes and executes. That would be everything. And if at all you want any approval pattern in the picture, you can put a low execution, it does that. While you're creating a pipeline, you can also make sure data quality is checked. You can do a PHI and a PII scan and a data generation also. And you can run this on a schedule. And these are the kind of schedules that you have. And this one over here decides how many runs do you want to keep in this particular pipeline. I generally keep it 5 runs, so my history remains clean when I look at it. So I've created a couple of pipelines, and as you can see, each of the pipeline comes with the pipeline name, the source, the destination, what are the parameters that you've done, what was the scheduled that it was scheduled to run, when did it last run, and these are the runs that have happened in the pipeline in the past. If at all you look at these runs, each run comes with a report. A report basically will tell you what has happened over here. It can also give you a data quality report, what happened at a data quality side for that particular thing, and a PII report as well. And once you look at this, you can also look at a change log. Change log basically gives you what has happened over the period of time in this particular file, and it basically takes from the first time it has happened till date. And you can download this by a CSV or a PDF also. Here this button you can download, edit that particular pipeline, and you can make any changes on that one. Okay, now once I will show you a demo. Now let's run the schema analyzer. I have two databases over here. I have one database which is my SQLite, and I have another database which is my Snowflake. Now in this particular pipeline at the back that I have, I am pushing it. The source is a Snowflake and the destination is a SQLite. So as you can see, I have the Snowflake over here and I have SQLite over here. Let me show you my SQLite table. My SQLite table is like this. I have these many columns, and the last column is a Cocoa company code. Now I will go into my into my Snowflake, and I add another new column saying test one. Okay, and I will say test one testing, right? So I have added a new column called test one testing, and I've given it a default of this. So let me, before I execute this command, let me show you the table in Snowflake. So this is the table in Snowflake that I have. I have these columns here. Cocoa code is the last. Here also Cocoa code is the last. Now I'll come and add a new column called as testing. Testing, test one, testing. Now I will go to my genome and I will run my pipeline. As I'm running the pipeline, you can see that it is going one hour, it is taking one step at a time, and I'm keeping the SQL Server over here open for you. And as you can see, it is first analyzing. At this point in time, it is going to the source, picking up the data types, doing a ching over here, takes a snapshot. The last snapshot is this snapshot, what was taken over here, and then it starts running it. Now it done a data quality. If the data quality is good, now it does a PHI and PII scanning. And if at all I set some rules at the PHI and PII, that also is executed. And once it is running at this point in time, as you can see, it gives you the PHI PI is happening. Now data generation, even though I have given a data generation, since this is PHI and PII data generation, it only executes data for PII or PHI data. Now this is completed. Now I will show you the SQL Server. I will run this particular query, and as you can see, we have the test one testing which got added. So that's how simple and easy it is. It just goes ahead and starts doing that. Now while we are doing it, like I was saying, if at all there are any analyzer, any notifications that come in, you would get to see those notifications in this particular screen over here. Now let's look at data quality. Data quality basically is one big aspect of data, where if at all I look at this particular table and it is in a DBO schema, and I am saying this is a table in my Snowflake. So let me show you this. This is the manufacturing table, and I will show you the data in this particular table. And when I run this, as you can see, this particular table is empty. Okay, let's go to sales. Let's do a data quality on sales itself. These are the sales table. Now I'll come to here and let me look at the sales table, and I'll do a data quality check. While I'm doing the data quality check, at this point in time, it goes, picks up the database, it picking up the sales table over here, and it's trying to show you what all has happened. Now, at each of the data quality, it does the completeness, uniqueness, and outliers, or if at all any other checksum is also there. And if at all you want any other data quality, we can add that over here in the data quality check. This is how it shows. If at all it is pass or fail, is all done over here. Then at a PHI and a PII information, all I can show you is, suppose if I go into my local SQLite, I have a public schema. Let me show you my local SQLite. I have this particular table. These are all the tables in my SQLite. And if I say employees as a table, I'll show you if at all that particular thing has data here. Right, we have data in this particular thing. Now I will look at public and I will say employee. Right, now I am doing a PHI and a PII scan. Sorry for that. Sorry, it's employees. So it does this, and as you can see, the employee table automatically comes over here. Now, at each table, it gives you the column, the table name, the column name, whether it's a PII or PHI scan, what bucket does it fall in. Now, since this email is a PII table, it's PII column. It's marking it by default. SSN is a PII column. It's marking it by default. Now, say suppose if I go to any other column and I'll say, okay, in the customer master, I want to give the first name as a PII. I want to turn it off. I will turn it off right now. And again, if I turn it on, you will see that it automatically becomes a manual adjustment. And this is how PII and PHI is scanned. And you can generate the report also for this. Now, for data generation, it's basically you have to identify the table. Now, here I have two different tables that I am looking at. And like we saw in Snowflake, I have this data over here. In my sales, I have all this data in my sales. And in my SQLite also, I have a sales table, but a couple of the columns are empty in my sales table. Say, suppose if I want to go and generate this, I want to make sure that the data just gets replicated. I can say this date. I will give the schema name and the sales table name, and I will give a force generation. When I do this, it automatically goes ahead and identifies what is the PHI information. Now, before I make any more changes, if at all I want to have a specific information that needs to be done, like in this particular sales ID, but I would say, okay, customer code is a PHI information. So I will edit on this. I will give this particular thing and I will say, okay, this belongs to medical record number, and I'll save this. Automatically, now this has become a PHI column and this got saved over here. Now I will go and generate a pseudo data. Now consistency group is another one. If at all I have another column and I add this column over here, say manufacturing, and I have a primary and a foreign key over here. Automatically, the moment I do this in a consistency group, as long as it is default, it automatically identifies these tables relationships and does that. One more thing is, if at all you have a specific table and you want to have a specific regex, you can add this over here. Now I have generated a force generation of the data. As you can see, the data got written in this particular table. Now, if I go into my sales data, you can see automatically the company code and testing one already got populated. So that's how simple and easy it is for your demo data generation. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do let me know whatever customization you need. We will add that into this. Thank you.